Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. This is a podcast by Callstack in which I, Michał and Abi, drink coffee and talk with our friends from Callstack. Today, we don't have Łukasz with us, but my guest is Abi. Hello, Abi. Can you say a few words about yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Abi. The words about myself I have chosen are lightsaber, spinneret, resurgence. I think those are some pretty cool sounding words, and I think they introduced me very well. Besides that, I'm a dev. I like working with everything JavaScript related, even though I mostly work with TypeScript. I'm currently in the very, very wet Cape Town with my girlfriend, since it is winter and I'm trying to enjoy a slight holiday over here. And I really love Star Wars.
Awesome. I would think that it's pretty warm in South Africa, but it's not the thing all the time, right?
Yeah, I think at this point my friends have done very well in instructing me that this is Africa and rules don't really matter. It's chaos. So we just go with it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay. In this episode, I would like to go over a few interesting news and our experiences with Appjs Conference, because as it turned out, we have few different perspectives with Abi of attending the same conference. But let's start with news. So I would like to share an article from the React Native documentation about bundled Hermes, and there's a caution on this page. Please note this page serves as a technical deep dive and is targeted for users which are building extensions on top of Hermes of React Native. So it's perfect for us, and we love deep dives into React Native. I can see your face.
I would slot a terms and conditions apply there for me, because though I understand some of it, other parts, I don't know. They elude me. So to speak.
Yeah, I understand some of these words.
Exactly that.
So what is bundled Hermes? Starting with React Native 69, every version of React Native will be built alongside to a Hermes version. And they call this distribution model a bundled Hermes. And this is actually it was like building Hermes and bundling it together with React Native. It was a major blocker for the 69 release, and the reason why it's happening for such a long time and has, I think, 5th or 6th RC version already. But why did the core team move to bundled Hermes? Historically we had React Native and Hermes released separately, and we had to read basically which version of Hermes is compatible with the version of React Native that we're using. And there were some misconceptions around it. It also happens that Hermes and React Native are built with, are using JSI to power their features. And if they're using an ABI incompatible version, it can result in crashes in build time and maybe in runtime. I actually don't know about it will probably crash in the build time anyway. So what the team did is they incorporated the downloading and building specific version of Hermes as a part of the React Native release process. And this way, when we install React Native 69 or later, we will always be able to use the Hermes version that is for sure compatible with our version of React Native. So I think it's great for the developer experience. And regarding the pain points that they have with the release, is that it turned out with the new architecture, you're actually building some parts of React Native from the source, and building Hermes takes a lot, like 20, 30, 40 minutes, depending on the device. So they were backporting the build time performance fixes into the 69 version. So it doesn't degrade performance of regular users, and also doesn't affect the new architecture too much. Yeah, I think that will be it about it. Abi, I think you wanted to mention the React Native paper latest release.
Oh yeah, I've noticed here that we're running into version 5 of React Native paper. Very, very cool. Though what I can tell thus far is that it's not completely fully out just there yet, but it is going to be very, very soon. I'm excited to see what React Native paper v5 is going to offer everyone. Although talking about what you just mentioned as well with this bundled Hermes, I'm actually very surprised at just how much of an impact that could make. Because while you were talking, you mentioned about how long it could take to build Hermes, and my brain just went, "Oh, so that's what that was. That was taking so long." Yeah. No, that caught me by surprise.
And even better, while building the or trying to bundle the Hermes version and put it inside npm, it turned out that npm has a limit in the package size, and I think the limit was around 10 megabytes as they they can't, they won't tell you. Once you try to upload a big package, they will just the npm CLI will provide you with 401 or something like this, that hey, package size is too big, and just deal with it. So I think they're trying
deal
to
with it.
Oh yeah, I actually had some bad experiences with npm, erroring on weird stuff. For example, I was rate limited and couldn't publish multiple packages in a monorepo at once. But once I replaced my machine with M1 Mac, it just disappeared. So I don't know. It doesn't happen anymore, so I don't care. But it was really hard to get some variable help from the npm creators. Although I tried, and they were pretty responsive. So if you ever have a problem with npm, just reach out to their help team, and they will at least respond to you.
Perfect.
Yeah, one thing about the paper is they released their first release candidate, and it's about implementing Material U, which is a version 3 of Material Design by Google. React Native paper is maintained by Luke Walczak. He will be on our podcast in the upcoming weeks, I hope, and he will talk in details about what's there. Another thing I would like to share with you is it's pretty fresh. I got the email about the release today, and it's about React 18.2. So have you had a chance to check what's inside?
So I've checked it, but it is, of course, extremely fresh. So basically, it's a lot of fixes, a lot of very nice stability fixes on both the React DOM and the React DOM server side. But the one thing that really jumped out at me, and I think probably jumped out at you too, is this fixed ignored set state in Safari when adding an iframe. Get this. This is how it works. So Dan Abramov over here mentions how microtasks are supposed to run on a clean stack. However, Safari flushes microtasks synchronously if you append an iframe to the page. This breaks expectations for libraries like React/Preact and possibly others. And then further on, Jason Miller added that the issue is narrowed down with microtasks are only flushed in the realm of the frame's owner document. Flush is not triggered for sandboxed iframes. Flush is triggered for cross-origin frames, and flush is triggered for frames with SVG foreign object. So from what I gather, it's really interesting how adding an iframe that has any sort of possibility of cross-origin or foreignness to it just makes the flush a thing. That kind of made me raise an eyebrow and scratch my head a bit. But it's a good thing that the React team, picked up on it and worked around it. But yeah, Safari is like the Wild West, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, like how would how would you actually pair the microtask flushing with iframes? This is so unintuitive. So really, kudos to Jason Miller. I think he filed this bug report in January on the WebKit bug tracker. Wow, cool that folks are actually able to work around such issues. But yeah, this is well stuff.
That's Sherlock Holmes level detective work. Well done to them.
Yeah. There's also another thing that I would like to mention just briefly, and it's the React Native ES build. So it's created by Joel Artveson. He's or Oblader on GitHub. He's created a lot of quality libraries in the open source community, in the React Native community. So thank you, Joel, for your work. And now he seems to work in the bundler space, trying to integrate ES build with React Native, and having some nice early success in the code base that he's testing. So he says that bundling with ES build is 10 to 50 times faster, depending on the project, and also it allows for tree shaking, which Metro doesn't support really, allowing for smaller, like up to 21% smaller apps. And it's a drop-in replacement for Metro. And one thing I've read from Joel was that he had some issues with Hermes, which apparently doesn't support the block scope variables, or more, I mean, block scope keywords let and const, and it uses Babel plugin from Metro preset to compile it down to vars, so it actually understands the variables in JavaScript. But there is a fundamental problem with Hermes and block scope and block scope in general, that it would actually touch every piece of infrastructure that they're using to build the Hermes as an engine. So it's a hard problem to tackle, and I guess that's why they're quite reluctant to fixing it, because the easy workaround is to use Babel and transpile it out. But interesting. Really looking forward to some developments in this area. And the last library I wanted to talk about, or the announcement, would be Reassure, which I actually presented on the Appjs Conference. And this is a library that we've created for one of our clients, and it evolved into an soon to be open sourced library. It aims to solve the regression testing of React components and React Native. I think in React Native on the first place, but it should also be compatible with the web version of React. So coming to the and yeah, like one last thing before we jump into App.js.
Sure. Right. Okay.
Is I would like to give a shout out to Sebastian Lorber and his newsletter, This Week in React. In previous Coffee Talk, we were talking about sources where you can find community news, and we wanted to add his work to this list. But we also forgot to mention books. So, oh well.
Oh well. Yeah.
Okay, App.js.
App.js.
What it is? It's a 2-day conference. It happened last week in Krakow, city where I live. And it's pretty dope. It was also it featured a 1-day workshops with few cool folks about animations and fabric and some pretty cool and advanced stuff. And from the first impressions, I really liked the venue. It was a old railroad depot. They installed the big screen there. Like all the setup was very professional. It was a blast to be there. Great work, software mention for organizing this conference, an expo as well, because it's an Expo first conference, but it touches React Native as well. So as you might notice already, I was there as a speaker. So I get this perspective of being there. But Abi, I heard that you've watched the stream live for.
I did, yes.
Time. How was
it? Yeah, I mean, the perspective from here, I can definitely agree with you. It felt more like, and excuse the pun, an expo. But yeah, I don't think it's, I mean, it was still mind-blowing for me because this is like post-pandemic kind of event. And it's pretty crazy to see a bunch of people gathered again together talking app stuff. I think the venue was really, really cool. It really reminded me of like my days where I would watch pro esports tournaments, and like they have huge $1 million production quality like levels of presentation, and I felt that same energy here, if not even better. I thought it was just very professionally done. The talks were extremely insightful, extremely good. And the way they handled the streams were actually very nice. They had great breaks. They had excellent editing. It was just, yeah, all in all, well done. Kudos to the organizers. They did a super job.
Yes, this is interesting because when I was there, I would actually use the breaks to talk to people or have a coffee, eat something, and I only realized at the very end of the first day that there is a kind of studio between the talks, where they're talking with folks like Charlie, Cheever, or William Candillon. So I totally missed that, but it was something that you actually got to see as a virtual attendee in the conference, because it was streamed, which is nice. Any talks that you like the most? And before we go there, I think that the quality of the presentations was really on a high level. Like most of the talks were actually worth watching. And if you had to pick a few of your best, like what would you pick?
Well, I'd say the most efficient and effective way to do this and the most fun is just rapid fire them. Okay, first things first, keynote address by Charlie Cheever from Expo, touching EAS, EAS update, EAS metadata, and followed by Evan Bacon. Amazing presentation, super great, insightful. I love the story they're presenting of Expo. I loved it. Michał, your turn.
Yeah, I would also mention from the keynote, the part from Tomek Zapeta. He introduced this sweet API. We made a lot of puns out of this name, but it's a pretty sweet name. Anyway, it's a way to create synchronous native modules using Swift and Kotlin DSLs. It's kind of alternative to Turbo modules and CodeGen. And I generally love the Apple-like quality of those announcements. It reminds me the WWDC conference from a few days earlier, and you could really tell that Expo is trying, or it seems like it, they're trying to be Apple of the React Native ecosystem. Really like the direction they're going. And from the community talks I liked, I gotta say I enjoyed the animations should be fun by Catalin Miron. It was a nice overview of how to use reanimated latest features, pretty comprehensive. I like the bringing the React Native to bringing the new React Native architecture to open source community by Nicola Corti from Meta. So this is kind of talk that everybody is anticipating because it's from Meta, right? So it's creators of React Native. I gotta say, I heard almost all about it a night before. But it's a perk of being a speaker and attending the speaker's dinner. So we were talk a lot about those insight experiences and stuff happening while developing the framework. And if I had to pick like one more, I would go with the V8 talk from Kudo. He presented how he hacked a version of it like right before Hermes, and he's still playing with it in his free time and comparing its runtime performance relatively to Hermes or with JSC, and he actually played with the headless mode. I think it's called headless, like when you run the V8 from a snapshot, so you can actually use the bytecode similar to Hermes. So that was interesting.
That's pretty epic.
Anything else from you?
I think no, you've covered them. You've covered them quite well. Obviously, I loved pretty much all of them. I think they were well made, well presented, and yeah, those really just stood out in my head. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in general, it was a really refreshing experience to attend a React Native oriented conference in person. I would definitely do it again. I met a lot of cool, crazy, interesting people just by going around the tables, talking about what they're doing, what I'm doing, and just exchanging experiences. So great to have it back. And yeah, I think that's it for today. We covered quite a lot, and it's probably getting longer than other episodes that we make, and we try to keep them as short as possible. But yeah, it gets pretty easy to extend the episodes. So I'd like to thank you, Abi. Thanks for having you here, and I hope that you will come by more often. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. Right back. I loved it. I would love to be back more often and drink some coffee or otherwise with you.
Yeah. Thanks, and see ya.
See you later.